Hello, it's Joe Simard here. It's December 13th, 2021. And what's on my mind today is my sense of smell. Uh, about a year ago, Christmas, I was afflicted with a minor cold, which is what I thought it was, and it went away after a day and a half. And no other symptoms, but about a month later, in January, I noticed that I wasn't smelling things, and I thought at first maybe it was allergy, who knows, but I couldn't smell anything. I couldn't smell perfume. I couldn't tell the difference between the smell of water in my studio and the smell of turpentine. It's pretty radical. I could taste the difference because I tested that, and so my sense of taste was not affected greatly, although smell and taste are related. So it got me thinking about how we pick up reality. William Blake famously said that if our senses could be cleansed, we would see reality perfectly. Now, I don't know if he was right or not, but this is what he believed. But we do know that our senses can be hampered by old age, by disease, injury, genetics, whatever. And people don't see things the same way. For instance, men tend to be colorblind to some extent. Red-green, for instance, I'm red-green colorblind to some extent, and whereas women tend not to be. So the appreciation of color is different between men and women, maybe for that reason. So getting back to this idea of perception and our senses can also be influenced to change the way they behave. For instance, there's a famous experiment that was done over and over again where a hypnotist takes a student in the class and puts them in front of the class and has them go into trance under suggestion. A suggestible state is what it's called. And he's going to do a perfume test, and he has something he calls French perfume, which the class can see is really a bottle of French perfume. And then he has another bottle of a clear liquid, which is marked ammonia. And the young man who's doing the test is blindfolded, because you do these tests blindfolded to see which perfume is better. And he tells him that there's this French perfume, and then there's this other common perfume, which people seem to like, and he would like to ask the student which one he likes better. And so he has him smell the French perfume, and he says it's pleasant, and he, might prefer that. And then he smells the ammonia, and he says that, it's a little light for me, and I might prefer the other one. And the class is laughing, of course. And so then he takes the young man out of suggestible state, out of trance in front of the class, and he has him smell these objects again, the perfume, which he finds nice, and the ammonia, and he jerks his head away immediately. It's pretty powerful stuff. So, the power of suggestion can affect our senses. It can also affect the way we sense, the way we taste, the way we touch, and how, our sense of taste, not only about physical objects, but also ideas. We have a certain taste for a kind of art, let's say, and that can be influenced by a critic, who comes up with a really incredible argument for why Jackson Pollock is so wonderful and beautiful, when, yesterday you hated Pollock and now suddenly you're awed by looking at his work. The same can be true of a novelist or a philosopher. Your taste can be influenced by the suggestions planted by people that are talking about that or that favor that point of view. So for us to maintain a sense of balance or normality and objectivity, whatever that is, we need to look at different points of view and decide then what might be better. I mean, we do this, for instance, with perfumes. I remember back in the hippie era, prior to that, scents like Canoe and others were very popular, but suddenly for women especially, patchouli oil became the thing among that subset of hippies that was out there, and you could smell it everywhere. And it was done because the power of suggestion, that the East had better ideas, people were practicing meditation, all things India, sandalwood, incense, it all were suddenly elevated as being better than Western things. And so our sense of taste, our sense of smell was influenced by suggestion. The same thing can happen with ideas. We might not particularly believe in UFOs, let's say, and then suddenly we start looking at YouTube videos and so-called government reports and all of this stuff, and end up going down a rabbit hole where it shows that there's evidence that ancient aliens were actually beings that visited us from outer space and helped us build pyramids and draw the Nazca lines and who knows what other stuff. Maybe they even dropped Bigfoot here to kind of tantalize us and whatever. But these things can become believable, and not only believable, but almost obsessive in how we perceive and believe these things. So basically, I'm just bringing up this idea that we know through what we call suggestion therapy, or what used to be called hypnosis, or what other people call influence communication. We can be influenced by disease, how we perceive things, like me with COVID, not seeing the difference or smelling the difference between these two. And by suggestion, by just mere power of the words coming from some guru or some pundit, can change our sense of taste, can move us from a conservative viewpoint to a more progressive viewpoint, and vice versa, or take us from a working knowledge of something and drag us down into a basic assumption that, maybe turpentine isn't bad for us. It tastes good under a certain type of suggestion, a certain type of taste milieu that someone suggested to us. So, I wanted to just bring up these viewpoints to give a more graphic description of why our senses and our sense of taste for anything can be influenced. Take a look at these hypnotic experiments on smell. I think you'll find some videos rather easily. And it's pretty radical how people can be fooled into thinking that something smells sweet when in fact it's something like ammonia or dog poop or whatever. Anyway, my sense of smell has begun to return. I still can't smell certain things. Like I mentioned, dog poop, I can't smell that. I can smell some perfumes. I can smell some food now and then. I still can't sense smoke. I don't know if my sense of smell will come back altogether, but if it does, I'll let you know. Thanks for listening and enjoy your day.